It is Friday, another Friday, October 29th, 2021. I'm here inside this hole, inside what I call panic/safe room. I just looked up the word provost and providential, trying to figure out how that divinely inspired piece of knowledge could help me wrap myself in a blanket at the moment. I spoke to a crossing guard today. She helps New York City children cross over the streets passing from the public school to wherever the residences are. That's what her definition post was. We used to have a different crossing guard. She was there for years for Anthony. But she's moved on. She got some kind of promotion of some sort. And now there's a new one. The new one had asked, I think her name's Anna, something like that. She asked me today, she's like, she asked me a question, I forget exactly what she said. And I said, here's the thing. I have a problem sometimes with my short-term memory. And I have 3 older children. I said, we lived out in Long Island. I was like, in Long Island, the teachers out there were so amazing to my children, for my children. They used to go out of their way, like they would give a monthly visual reference tool of like a paper calendar. So I could look over it and see if there was any upcoming events for the month that I should make a mental note of and know ahead of time, even though sometimes I'd fall into I don't check it every day, but I could put it on the fridge and I at least knew if I needed something I had a place to go. I was like, but I find Miss Rice in his preschool, she was amazing in PS31. She had something along those lines, which I greatly appreciated her. But since he graduated pre-K, with Anthony, I do not get the same, now everything's online, and the crossing guard still, even online, she says they don't have that kind of calendar resource anymore. And I was like, that's a problem. Because, again, I'm not learning disabled, I suppose. I'm more of a visual learner. That reference tool was really, really helpful. And a paper product that I could put, because I was like, I don't have a computer. I don't even have a computer. I don't want a computer. I don't want to be forced onto an electronic device just to figure out what my son needs for school. I don't want any of that. And then I said to her, I said, I was like, I said another funny thing. I said I'm 43 now. I said, and I really was thinking, if I could picture Prince Charming at 43, now that I'm 43, define him. What does he look like? And where is he in his life at 43, since for 43 years he's been without me? And where has he evolved to? I was like, somehow I picture, the perfect man that our lives were disrupted and me pulled into this. I was like, do you remember, and I said this to the crossing guard, I go, do you remember that metal thing that they used to have as kids at the blackboard or chalkboard, where they would put the white piece of chalk inside and they'd have that metal utility tool and they'd write? I was like, I imagine he knows how to use that tool. He's in front of a chalkboard somewhere and he's waiting for our first date where I can sit at the front of the class and he could teach me something, whatever he's learned, that made him the happiest to learn it. And that could be our first date. Something totally different than everybody else. I was like, that's how I picture my first date with Prince Charming. I was like, just at a chalkboard, just me and him teaching me something like that. And so she started laughing. And I said, Because here's what happens. The only thing I have available to me in the local area, I was like, is this thing like online, like Match.com? They don't have men like that, I've noticed, on Match.com. And for some reason, I was like, the men that are on Match.com are more like a meathead group and like a meat market. I was like, it didn't work out well. I was like, I swear there's a barn somewhere that was built with a square dance. And I am missing it every weekend. I was like, I just don't know how or where to find my people. So she started laughing. And I go, you think I'm joking? I said, I'm dead serious. At 43, he's just as charming with that thought of chalk at a chalkboard and me being in the only seat in the class as it was when I was like 9. I was like, I have not lost that dream. So again, she was laughing. She's like, no, I've heard I've heard that story about the online dating community before. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know if it works that way for everybody in the whatever universe. I was like, but for me, it's just, it was a bad idea going in. It got worse, and I'm still at 43, no better off. And still missing the one man who even remembers that chalk can be put into a device so this way it doesn't muck up your hands and then get all over your pants. So, for the neat freak amongst us, since I don't live in that life either. So that happened. I took Nucci to the park. It was overcast. There was something that happened there. He ate some kind of, he called it a nuclear warhead. It's some kind of super sour, SUPERSOUR candy. After he shared some of his candy with the other children. Evan was there, and I forget the girl's name that was there. But they each asked for a specific candy. I gave it to them. Anthony said I could, so I did. We put the candy away, and then my son went berserk. Like, but not like Germany berserk in a good way. He went like an American born after 2012, or in 2012 or thereafter, where the script is completely in a storyline in a movie that I never wanted to attend or see. He was screaming at the top of his lungs like an emotionally disturbed child. He was clinging on Geo, this very tall, toffee colored, TOFFEECOLORED, colored boy, who's a little older, was holding on to him. I asked him to watch his hands. I got other things going on in the atmosphere. I did not approve of Anthony's behavior, but I would appreciate it if he if he didn't hold. Because I know that there was a sports conversation at some hole in time and space about coaches having to supervise rowdy whatever and whatever, and their star players acting out of character after some drink or whatever was involved. I know that was a bone of contention for somebody somewhere in sealed envelopes. I have no names, as usual. I couldn't even remember your name if you told it to me in person, unless you're a repeating character in my life. So it was very reminiscent of that. One of the boys got on top of my son's back and then humped him. That made my son go ballistic, which I know that was a tie-in. But I'm like, why is my son reliving some other scenario's nightmare? Why is that occurring for some other field that I'm not even benefiting from? Why is my son going through in the field the exact same scenario to see how my reaction would be? In a closed, I'm a sealed tube. I'm a sealed, inoculated test tube inside an open auger microbiota floral system. And I'm being hurt while I'm resting and waiting in this scenario and I could be better off somewhere else with whom I belong before I got sidelined and derailed by somebody else's children and agenda, which I had nothing to do with and I don't know how to avoid or get out of. So that happened. So I did not, so today's October 29th, 2021. I did not approve of the script, the behavior, the way it acted out, the scenery. I even told this tall, toffee-colored girl that was there with her hair braided, she was saying something like trying to rile me up about sugar. And I'm like, listen, here's the thing. She's like, does he act like that at home? And I'm like, here's the thing. At home, totally different kid. I was like, he's acted this way before when sugar was introduced into this situation on the playground. I was like, but I don't really give him sugar. So, no, this is not a normal behavior. I was like, imagine having a remote control and your cable box and tuning into a movie that you don't like and you don't want to watch and you don't want to see acted out. That's what I feel watching my son right now after eating that candy, and with all of you here as a witness, that's what I feel like this is. I feel like this is an acted out scenario that could have been avoided, but for some nefarious purpose, we're here. On that note, I walked in, Linda was watching some TV show called Bull, Bull. Very handsome main actor. Looks like a lineage family member, by the way, of the tribe I can't find. And so, or categorize or name or identify or whatever. But he had the word nefarious. He had some scenario set up on this TV show. I walked in and I was like, oh, that's a problem. And then I walked out because there was somebody on a witness stand made to look like a recluse or some, I don't know, I had another word for it earlier, it eludes me at the moment. And so they were portraying this character almost as like a hot, not a hot mess, but like a, I don't know, a loose cannon perhaps, is another way of putting it. I mean, then there's Punchline, came on the TV today, I'm like, oh, that's another way to look at it. I mean, I say catchphrase, but Punchline, right? I mean, and then it's like Punjab is P-U-N, and then Punch is P-U-N, right? They both start with P-U-N. It's just interesting. Time lag, time dilation, being tortured by torted, and then time and space being spun in some kind of political torsion apparatus, and being completely catatonic. All right, let me think about this. So that happened. So, and then I'm thinking to myself, okay, so they've got a bully pulpit. Right, okay, so if you pulled me into a pit, which is what this feels like in this scenario of topiary and time dysplasia, and I was pulled into a pulpit. Linda is a Taurus. They're represented by Ursula Major or Minor, which is a bull. So is Jason, 1976. Jason Peter Romer, 1976. He's a Taurus. That's a bull. And Anthony Tiafrio, 1975. Another bull. So that would be 3 bulls in the pulpit holding me in a pit. And that's a problem for the last 43 for the woman and 21 for the combination of the 2 problem males during this time that I'm stuck here, to get me to a panic room or safe panic room of some sort, just to tell you that I want the same man with the same chalk at the same chalkboard and be his only pupil. Same scenario of I'm in a pool, he sees me in a bathing suit, he's the only one in the entire gymnasium, as far as I'm concerned. Give me instruction, I'll go swim, I'll impress you that way, and then I'll get out and, like, I need a towel. Because this is awkward. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It is Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. And I'm in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Trying to think of if there was any I think I missed a point, but whatever. I'm